Hola Galeras. Hola, hola, hola. ¿Cómo estás? I'm doing well. I'm doing well. I have my painter's breakfast in true form. We're going with a classic. We haven't done this in a while. Salmon Toast by Tacoma Bevco. Amazing, amazing people. Great food. Let's get some unboxing going. Ooh. Looky, looky. I put some jalapenos in there just to add a little kick to it. I'm your host, Giles Blake, as you already know. It is a pleasure and an honor to be your breakfast host, as it were. So, I have been thinking about the topics for the show. And I thought about it after reading an article, amusingly enough, written about me. Um, and I've always felt like the show should be like a conduit for conversations and just, like an honest perspective. So, first things first, I got my meter. So, for those who don't know, it is a continuous glucose meter, and I have a little thing. So, today I'm at 159. Well, for right now, I'm in 159. It's gonna go up while I'm eating. They just do. It's what they do. There's no way to get around that. But yeah, you know, I try to eat well and take care of myself so that I don't have to worry about spiking. I don't know why I keep using these plastic knives. They don't work. The bread is always much too hard. I did find out that there's certain types of breads I can eat that are actually really good for me. So like pumpernickel's good, and like sourdough's really good for diabetics. So I got plans. I got a lot of plans as far as food goes. But yeah, I was thinking this morning while just kind of getting ready to drop Alec off about conversations about hair. There's not a lot of representation for like different types of hair in the art world, particularly not in like classic art. Alec pointed out there's a few from the non like main stage Renaissance stuff, but there's not a lot of diversity as far as these things go. Like they were made to look like the people who were probably in power at the time. So there's a certain level of underrepresentation of lots of groups of people. So in that, I've always thought, I always thought like you have to, in all honesty, like you have to kind of come out and represent the people that you want to be represented. Because if you're just waiting for someone else to do it, like it may never actually happen. So like you have to be the change that you wish to see in the world. I did not come up with that for the record, but it is a great quote. I don't remember who said it originally, but I've heard it my whole life, and I fully agree with it. But I remember as a young man, growing up in the South, that there were a lot of like questions about my hair or comments about my hair from other people who did not have my hair texture. And one of the issues I would face would be trying to express to them that, if you have thick curly hair, you have to use more shampoo. You have to use different types of hair care products, and what works for you doesn't work for everybody. And I think that's mostly just kind of a communication aspect that needs to be put out, but also kind of a people don't know anything about other people. So you have to kind of look at it on that aspect. Bud is a person who replays scenarios in his head of times gone past. A time traveler, if you will. I oftentimes try and think of ways that I could have veered in a different direction. So instead of saying, my hair doesn't do what your hair does, or your hair is different than my hair, it was probably would have been smarter in my case to say, yeah, like, your hair doesn't do what mine does. I think the difference between the two comes from the concept of your hair nor my hair are the default hair. But when talking about yourself, like, it's understandable that, you can speak from your perspective. But trying to commiserate with someone who's not necessarily positive about their commentary about your hair. Like, throughout the years, I've heard so many random people refer to curly hair as nappy, and it's meant to be an insult about, the texture of how your hair grows out of your head. No, not in all cases was it ever meant to be racist, but in some cases it was. And I think when you're a kid and someone says that to you, you kind of shrink. And so for all the children, the youngers who look at my work and watch this and whatnot, I want to help you come up with some, I don't want to say snapbacks, because some clapbacks, but defense mechanisms, so that you feel more prepared. So yeah, it's that whole learn to love yourself, obviously, but also learn that, it is a good thing that you are unique. It's not a bad thing in your circles. You will be around other people your whole life. Yo, Neil, how are you? You'll be around people who are different your whole life, and you want to feel comfortable. You want to do those things. So there's like a really big part of my artist journey that's always been about letting people know that, you are not the only one. You are original through and through. Everyone is. But there's something to be said about the factor that, you don't need to feel nervous. You don't need to feel embarrassed. You don't need to feel like an outsider. You are unique like everybody else. Which, people go like, well, that doesn't, if everybody's unique, then no one's unique. No, everybody's unique because everybody's unique. I think a lot of times people try and simplify. They try and simplify those type of situations because it's easier for them to digest it, but it's not necessarily true in a lot of ways. I think your ideas are, your ideas come from you. They are yours. Even if they're inspired by other people subconsciously. They are your ideas. The way you sign your name is your signature. The same way that, the way you think of the world is how you think of the world. How you get up in the morning, how you do these things. Like, these are your routines. I just think it's important that we allow people to be proud and happy of like who and what they are. I know it's so easy in this day and age to like downplay everything, but I think, we should celebrate. Celebrate the things that make us different. That's why I've been like on this kick for the last, I don't know, 15, 16 years now of trying to make art that really like represents my community because I felt like they were super underrepresented. Because, they are the same as the next person beside them. But they are also unique at the same time. I don't know. So, that album for Valentine Slim just came out that I did the art for. I feel really proud of that actually. It was it was a really nice it was a really nice gesture that they wanted me to paint the cover for their album. So I'm really happy that I did that. Well, if anyone wants to see it, you can go to just look up Valentine Slim, and I believe his album should be posted up multiple places at this point. He's an indie artist, so I don't believe he's up on streaming just yet, but he's working on it. I remember a really long time ago, I ran across this artist called Alice Smith. Alice Smith is like this DC kind of blues artist. She's international now, but when I found her CD, she was a local artist in DC. The weird thing is, I found her album while I was in Raleigh, North Carolina. And one of my favorite artists, Audrey Kawasaki, did the cover for her album. And from that day, I was like, I really want to do some albums for people. I want to say I've done like 3. And most have been just for indie artists, They put out little EPs or vinyl, little 45s and stuff like that. But it's just so cool, It's so cool to just get to do artwork with artists. And it's just fun. I don't know how else to describe it. I always think it's funny when like I look at all these other artists, like a Tara McAfee, and how she used to do like concert posters, and it was just like such a fun little idea growing up, seeing these artists. I mean, we're the same age, so, but seeing these artists who I looked up to, going in these ventures, it was just great. It was like a really great, fun time to just make art. And it introduced them to me, but it also introduced the music to me. And it's an interesting gateway to kind of go through because it's so much collaboration and interpretation. Just like I said, it's fun. I still think one of the most interesting things that's happened with me in the last couple years with all this art stuff is that my reach has become more extended. So I've been able to really take in larger audiences, which is always kind of trippy. Because on one end, you have these like amazing people who you vibe with, and they're incredible. On the other end, as you open up, you do run across those people. We all know who those people are. Who aren't so great, who aren't so inviting. And there's just not much you can do about it. I mean, to be a public figure is to be someone that everyone sees. And I like that. But there's always a bit of a I don't know, nervousness about it in a way. Because I know I mean I read comments, I see some of the things. Most of it's polite, some of it is mean. Which goes back to the hair stuff. I definitely hear people say that. I'm checking my meter. It went up about 5. It was 160. So this is really nice, actually. I kind of like it. I learned a trick when trying to keep your blood sugar at a fair number, so under 250, which is very easy to just kind of jump up to. You can do like leg lifts, like calf raises while you're in your seat, and that actually helps bring it down. I don't know why. Hair is awesome. Thank you, Neil. And so like the leg lifts have really kind of helped, honestly, because like I didn't really know how to further control the spiking from meals, like coffee. And this is just coffee with cream. I take it with no sugar. I used to take it with oat milk, but oat milk kind of makes me spike a little more. So it's interesting to see. As I've looked more into it, there's a lot of very famous artists throughout the world who dealt with being diabetic. So I feel kind of. I'm not happy about being diabetic, don't get me wrong, but I feel a little more connected knowing that it's normal. I think the only issue I have with this meter is I always feel kind of a little tense in my arm. Like my muscles feel like they're kind of like I'm making a muscle the whole time. So it's a little weird sometimes. I bumped into it one time and it was so painful. I had to like sit on the floor for like a good 5 minutes, just kind of like, oh no. So, but I'm okay. I'm figuring it all out. It's all coming together. I feel very lucky to have like a good support system around me. But yeah, so I'm working on a new painting right now. It's a big guy, like a 5 footer. It's going to be very outspoken. It's going to say a lot when I think people see it. I feel very connected to all the things that are going on right now in the world as far as just like it's always hard to say this. I don't know why. Um, I've been watching all the things that have been going on in like Israel and Palestine, and I've just been very sad by like the loss of life. and to see children pass away is just it's very hard and traumatizing, and it's just very sad. And so I wanted to make a painting about those children, not in a attacking way, not in an aggressive way, but just in kind of the way that I would paint something with my word, with my message of the importance of people and the lives they live, and the sadness of people losing their lives, particularly losing children. Like, some of you know my story, some of you don't. Before I met my wife, I was previously married, and it obviously didn't work out. But we had a daughter, and she passed away. And so when I see kids pass and stuff, like it really hits me close to home. And I know you're not meant to center other things around yourself, but like when you're a parent who's like lost a kid, like it's just these things kind of linger and live in you. It was a very long time ago. It was over 18 years ago at this point. But you figure out you figure out how to get moving again. That's how the grief process basically works this way for me. Worked this way for me. You're very sad. You're a little angry, and then as time goes by, you learn to look at it from many perspectives, like how these things happen, how other people reacted, how you reacted, how the world looks at these types of things. And so I felt the urge to paint something in that air, that honor of those fallen children. So I'm working on that right now. I feel very strongly about it. I've been making it a point. I share things about the conflict. I feel like there needs to be a ceasefire permanently. Obviously, I think everybody does. But I don't know. It's really hard. It's hard. I think there are a lot of people who talk about it, but they don't really go through like the emotions of talking about it. Like it's not physically hard for them to just say it. I don't think they feel connected in any way. So I've definitely known quite a few people who like they have opinions, but like you can tell it's not. They're looking at it from like an anecdotal aspect. They're not looking at it from like a person to person aspect. So I just want to do something that lets that energy out and puts it into a painting, because in some ways a lot of ways it's kind of overwhelming. I see the same things you see, and I want to make something with it. There has to be some type of creativity that comes from all this violence and sadness. So that's what I'm working on for the most uplifting part of the show. We finally got all our books out of storage, so over 1,000 books at least. No, it's not 1,000. It's probably about 200 though. So the bookshelf is officially full, and then some. I've still got some other boxes I got to go through with all the stuff from the studio from when we put stuff in storage. I'm going to give away a lot of stuff because I kept some of the stuff that I had was just kind of, I think I just didn't let it go. But I realized as time has gone by, like, there's a whole process of like taking the things that you have, reevaluating them, and then getting them to people that need them. So that is my big plan for the day, to look through these boxes, figure out what I need, what I don't need, what I need to throw away, what I need to give away, all that stuff. It is a good day to reflect. I don't know if any of you are off today because of President's Day. I don't work Mondays, so I mean I'm always working, but I don't. The shop is not open on Mondays, so we're not doing that. But yeah, I just hope you're well. I hope you're happy. I hope you had a good breakfast. I hope this conversation reached you on some spectrum, and I love you, Galeras. I just want to say thank you to my patrons. You guys are wonderful. You guys keep me moving, keep me going, and I can't thank you enough. To my YouTube fam, thank you so much. Every time you guys watch one of my videos, it's super fun. My Instagram followers, you guys are great. You guys are always funny. You tell me funny little stories. We go back and forth. Some of you I've known for over 10 years now, and I look really forward to the one day when we can sit down and have breakfast face to face. All right. So with that, I finished my breakfast. The show is over. Get out of my house. No. Have a good day. Love you very much. Always about the art there. And I'll see you later. Bang around. Ciao. Bye. Wink.